And welcome to the October 27th edition of For the Record. I'm Dave Shuttleworth in for Jason Farr, coming to you from City Hall and the City Hall Council chambers. And on today's For the Record, Halloween for the Hungry and Hamilton's Mayor-elect Bob Bratina. And that's where we begin. Bratina, according to the Spectator's Andrew Dreschel in Tuesday's paper, defied the odds in a bolt from the blue win to take the Hamilton's mayor's chair, and it was a convincing victory, with Bratina garnering 37.32% of the vote, compared to Larry Deanne's second place finish at 28.4%. And we'll start right now by saying welcome, Mr. Mayor-elect Bob Bratina, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dave.
We often hear from people who campaign and candidates that there's a campaign hangover when it's all said and done. Did you have a little trouble getting out of bed yesterday morning?
No, not a bit. It probably would have been different if the outcome had been different for me. But we were late night partying, of course, at Ventura's on James Street North. Still couldn't get to sleep when we got home. We were quite excited and still watching the Cable 14 coverage. Probably got to sleep around 2 o'clock, got up at 7 to start to do the media rounds, and tripped along happily ever since. But I have to say that winning in the style that we did certainly animates you.
And it gets us to our first question, because you indicated on our broadcast on Monday night that you wanted a clear mandate. Are you satisfied with the mandate that you got?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we weren't as surprised as some of the pundits seemed to be, because we had nothing but, it was one of the finest 5-week stretches in my life, because every day was so positive. You know, there's the odd little thing that happened, but all in all, it was terrific. Every day the requests came in for signs, donations, volunteering. Even on election day, we were still getting requests for signs. So we had a really good feeling, and the results really just reflected what we felt it would be. But certainly I would never say that, Dave, that we expected to win, but we really had a good feeling.
From a personal note here, I just happened to be driving by in Westdale on Sunday night, and we drove by your office, and you were sitting in your office. And I thought that kind of strange for the night before the election. I thought you'd be out hustling more votes, whatever it happens to be. So what were you doing in your office?
Probably just checking in.
Okay.
You know, find out if there are any requests or any place we should be. We strategized the whole thing, determine where we should go and how we should greet people. One of the things, by the way, we decided not to do was stand by the road and wave on election day.
It's a very common thing for people electioneering to do. What was the decision there? It looks tacky?
Yeah, we saw some other people doing it, and we felt, that's not us. We're not going to do that.
All right, so now you've got until December 1st, so obviously lots of work to do, getting your ducks in a row. What's the first item on your agenda when you become mayor on December 1st?
Well, is to make the inauguration speech, and I think that's very important to set the tone. I'll never forget, Dave, listening to Dave Miller on his inauguration speech. Not that it turned out all the way he wanted to, but I actually had to pull over the side of the road. One of the Toronto radio stations was carrying it. And he had so many good and positive things to say about a future vision for the city. And so I want to be able to say things that you'll pull over to the side of the road until I'm finished.
Stadium, obviously you're going to come up, because that's been one of the key points of the election. Ian Troop has said that the drop-dead date for the stadium is February the 1st. Where does the Bob Bratina Hamilton City Hall administration stand on that?
Well, I have a package coming to me from Mr. Troop. We've already communicated. We'll be going over all that, talking with the city manager, because there may be something that I'm not aware of, and that was certainly the case all through the facilitation. And there was so much that we were, quote, not aware of, unquote, which lacked transparency. And so I was disappointed in that. So I think rather than barge ahead with any grandiose statements, I'm going to find out just exactly what that February 1st date means, as an example.
Are we changing locations again? Are we moving away from the rail yard at Longwood and Aberdeen? It was Confederation Park back on the agenda. Where are we going?
Well, once again, I have to meet with people to find out what the practical possibilities are. We really, I don't think, can afford the railway yard scenario, because right up front there's a $35 million bill to buy the land, clean the land, and relocate the industries that are on there. So when we can do that for zero at, say, Confederation Park or Upper Centennial and Mud at a location we call Speedway Park, why wouldn't we do that? Because my concern is that we're going to put up a glorified bleacher instead of having a signature building that we can all be proud of in a special location. You can hardly see it there, to be honest. People have to crane and look, you're coming down the 403, well, where is that site? And before you know it, you've gotten by it, so.
Are you, as a citizen, as an outgoing councillor and an incoming mayor, are you embarrassed at how this is carried on?
Well, we've heard some unfortunate comments from other parts of the country, and I think that's what hurts. We can squabble amongst ourselves, but it's gone viral, if you will.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, one of my goals is, as the new mayor-elect of the city of Hamilton, is to put Hamilton back into the ranks of great Canadian cities. We used to be 5th largest, now I think we're 7th. But we're also kind of falling off the map, and I think the NHL, a couple of NHL issues kind of dragged us down a little bit in the sense that, well, look, the NHL really doesn't want to go there. And I wanted to confront that governor, you may recall, Dave, who said about a year and a half or so ago that Hamilton was a second-rate city and we really weren't interested in putting an NHL team there. And I wanted to confront that with the Board of Governors and say, look, there should be a level playing field. We'd be happy to be, in the queue and whatever way it goes, but are you serious that we are not in consideration because we're second rate? I don't like things being said about my city like that, especially from unnamed governors, so I would confront the NHL board and say, tell us what you think. Okay,
so, but let's take that for a second. Are you speaking personally there? Are you speaking as the chief magistrate for the city of Hamilton?
Well, then
is there a separation?
Then I was speaking personally. The mayor of the day didn't seem that motivated. As the new mayor, following the December 1st inauguration, I certainly won't let things like that slip by.
Let's look to, because we're doing a post-mortem on the election, and we're crunching the numbers, and the suburbs came through for Bob Bratina in this election, and one of your policy planks was de-amalgamation.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, then clarify that, because de-amalgamation seems to be synonymous with Bob Bratina.
You know, the media tried to, and some of my colleagues, fellow candidates, tried to make it a boogeyman word. Mm-hmm. And all I said was that we had to have a full review of the municipal structure, and that we had to determine whether there were inequities, and we had to determine what the best solution was. And the best solution could range from nothing to de-amalgamation. But whatever the best solution was is what we should do. Now, if that sounds like advocating for de-amalgamation, I think somebody can't really understand the issue. The issue is simply, what's the problem, what's the best solution to the problem, and don't take any solutions off the table.
So if it's a semantics game, do you regret uttering the word de-amalgamation? Because there was a lot of traction with your opponents on that issue.
I'm happy with everything that I said and the way I said it, and the only thing that I wouldn't be happy with is people who constantly get it wrong.
Well, that's why you're here to clarify. One of the other issues, I guess, and it's somewhat related to amalgamation or de-amalgamation, if you will, is that in the last 10 years, you are now the 4th mayor that the city of Hamilton has had. Yeah. What do you think that says about stability in government for the city of Hamilton?
Well, don't forget that the 4th mayor ago was the mayor for 15 years.
Yes.
That was followed by Bob Wade, who was only there for one term, and he stated so, and it was about transition and into the amalgamated city, and then he retired as he said he would. And then, of course, Larry Deaney came back and had some problems that led to his loss, so, which was kind of an unusual situation. The present mayor didn't have really that great a mandate in terms of only 400 votes over the previous mayor. So I'm not bothered by that. I'm certainly not considering a Hazel McCallion style thing where I'll be for the next 30 years the mayor of the city of Hamilton, because I'd like to spend some time down the beach. But certainly a second term is a possibility. But all I'm thinking about now is getting the city back on track.
And we're actually going to talk about that coming up in the next segment. We are here in City Council chambers at Hamilton City Hall talking to Hamilton's new mayor-elect, Bob Bratina. And you're watching For the Record on Cable 14.